Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Jane, for the invitation so that I can share my experience and also learn from each others. If you're working in the supply chain, congratulations, you are the superstar right now because supply chain, logistics, or in modern terms, supply chain, will be getting more and more important right now in this new retail era. So what is new retail era is about? 4 years ago, Jack Ma said that pure e-commerce will die, and what we are coming through is the new retail era. So what is new retail era? It's not simply O2O, it's kind of developed ecosystem. Basically, it has 3 key components. So let's see what the giants have been doing in this new retail era. The first component is online. The main purpose of online is to draw the data, to draw the traffic, attract the data. So that's why you see in Alibaba, we have Taobao.com, our major competitor in China, JD.com. The second key component is offline channel. The main purpose of this offline is to develop omni-channel. That's why you see in Alibaba, they have 1688.com, my previous company. Also, JD, pretty much the same. They have a Xinlutong, is developed omni-channel. The third key component is logistics, in modern terms, supply chain. Same you see in Alibaba, they have China, also JD Logistics. And then they call it new retail era. But for JD, they call it borderless retail. But basically, they are talking about the same thing. They are actually to develop an ecosystem. You see here, logistics is getting more and more important. You know, in the past, logistics is very low end, very low spectrum. But now, as I said, congratulations if you are working in a logistics industry, in-house or the 3PL, is getting more and more important. When I was working in Alibaba, when we build a supply chain solution, we have a certain what's so-called critical successful factor. Here I highlight 4 successful factors to share with you. Cost, of course, as low as possible. The second is the delivery time. Not only as fast as possible, we emphasize more consistent. You can imagine if you buy something online this week, it took you about 7 days to deliver. But the next week, it took you about 15 days to deliver. That was not good customer experience. That's why we emphasize more consistent, something like time, day range definite, for example, 8 days to 10 days, so on and so forth, in particular during festival, during peak season. The third criteria is about better quality. That's why we emphasize a lot of data from our partners, supply chain partner, or from ourselves, so that we can make use of this data to monitor the service quality. The fourth criteria is about the service. We heard about a lot of customer experience. It's not confined to the point where you receive your packages, but start along the supply chain, start from when you place the order, campaign, invoicing, so on and so forth. Along the supply chain, we emphasize the customer experience. So because of new retail era, it brings along supply chain transformation. You try to think about if you are big giants such as Alibaba or JD or Amazon, they have an abundance of resource. They can build whatsoever they can build in theory. But resource is very limited, in particular for SME. That's why in the future, we emphasize a lighter supply chain model. Let me elaborate more. We emphasize warehousing, or what's so-called inventory management in this new retail era. The warehouse is kind of central connection with all the parties along the supply chain. If we are not a big giant, resource is very limited. That's why we have to focus our resource in this supply chain. For example, if you are a apparel brand owner, you may focus on some service customization to your consumers. If you are a platform or marketplace, you focus on omni-channel development through social media. If you are doing distribution, such as a logistic company, you focus on the last mile or the warehouse fulfillment. It depends on your role along the supply chain. So what are the challenges we are facing right now in this e-commerce world? Okay, before that, let me explain this from an e-commerce marketplace ecosystem's perspective. Why marketplace? Because it is the most complicated marketplace, the ecosystem. Because in the marketplace, basically you can sell everything, you can buy everything. It's very complicated. In this kind of ecosystem, we have some essential building blocks. For example, logistics. Whether you are doing local or cross-border delivery or fulfillment, we have a payment, many different kinds of payment solutions. Or we talk about Southeast Asia, it's a cash on delivery. Category management is how your products sell local or cross-border. It really depends on specific country you are targeting. Seller solution, a lot of ERP system. So they are highly integrated together by data, by IT technology. But ultimately, it is customer-oriented. Let me give you an example to illustrate this. When I was working in Alibaba Group and we have some internal research, we studied the rebuying behavior of the consumer versus the delivery time. Say if we send something from China to Singapore, and the research found that the Singaporean won't rebuy if the delivery time is longer than 7 days. That means we have to work backward along the supply chain to make sure you can deliver your packages within 7 days. For example, if you send something to Indonesia, people over there favor cash on delivery. Again, we need to work backward to ensure your supply chain solution can support cash on delivery. That is more and more important right now. We are not talking about to send your packages from point A to point B. That's simple. We have to work with all these building blocks together, backward, to make sure it is customer-oriented. The second challenges here I highlight is, even though we are doing e-commerce, there are several categories. I highlight some here is, at your left-hand side, is an international brand. Also, we have a marketplace. We have kind of vertical retailer. Vertical retailer means they are specific to sell specific products, such as cosmetic or apparel. We have also the end consumer. In particular, for international brand, they have specific requirement. I'll just name a few. They want end-to-end logistics solution, end-to-end, non-stop solution. Also, very tailor-made service, very tailor-made. Also, it's a global reach because of globalization. Also, local market knowledge. In particular, say in China or Southeast Asia, you have to partner with the local partners. Yeah. It is very rare for us to find a single company, logistics company, can do all the things. Start from the first mile, the line haul, the custom clearance, until the last mile delivery. That's why the people have to work together along the supply chain. Also, many other challenges. For example, inefficient logistics, in particular the custom clearance. In particular in Southeast Asia, the assessment of duty and tax is still very subjective. It changed a lot. The second is about the very complicated partner combination. That specifically means to the IT technology. We still find that one of the major problems right now along the supply chain is the lack of end-to-end visibility. Also, the third category is about the logistic capability. That means the requirement of the consumer getting higher and higher right now. In the past, we are talking about 3 to 4 day delivery. It's fine, acceptable. And then right now, same day delivery, if you are doing F&B, we're talking about on-demand delivery. That makes it more and more difficult to fulfill the needs of the consumer. In particular for apparel, reverse logistics, always a big headache for us. When I was in Lazada Alibaba, we calculated the cost for the return, replenishment is even higher. It's even higher. That's why we just told our merchant or consumer, hey, below a certain value, we don't have any return service. We just compensate you, that's simple. In view of these challenges, what can we do based on the readily available technology right now in the market? That's why we heard about digitalization. Okay, you can see here, In the right-hand side, I highlight some of the strategy which I see from the market. Some company, they extend their warehouse. What it means is they try to build their warehouse or locate their warehouse as closer to the consumer as possible. It's a kind of extended delivery point. It's no longer a traditional warehouse, just for storage. Store fulfillment. If you are a retailer, some of the retailer has been making use of their retail shop to be a fulfillment, click and collect or return station. Hybrid model. If you have your own warehouse, if you're a brand owner, or you make use of some marketplace, it depends, and then you have a hybrid model to see where your packages or your products are fulfilled by either your own warehouse or by the marketplace, or both. Also, last mile delivery. We try to have option for the consumer to choose. Locker, last mile delivery, or click and collect. But there's still a limit for us to enhance the efficiency of the last mile delivery. That's why we offer option for the consumer to choose. Also, we try to predict the consumer behavior. That's why, say in Alibaba Group, we make use of the data of the consumer and then predict the buying behavior, and then we send the packages as closer to the consumer as possible. So we put everything on the cloud first. We try to remove the intermediate as much as possible, no matter it's cloud warehousing, delivery, fulfillment, or distribution. We try to make it more reliable. We have to link all the system together. One of the problems right now is even within your company, there's a lot of system, but most of the time, they didn't talk to each other. All these systems within a single company have to talk to each other first, and also have to talk with your partners, the similar system along the supply chain, to make sure to streamline the data flow. Disruptive technology, we heard about a lot of blockchain, AI, all sorts of things. They are good, but even better, they apply to the right business rule. I think Jen mentioned this a little bit earlier, is technology is just a tool, but I give an example. I think many years ago, a very famous supply chain company approached me, "Hey Terry, I can reduce your cost significantly and increase the operational efficiency." And then I asked them in return, "Hey, which company should I use if I send something from China to Indonesia?" They cannot answer me because they just said, "Hey, we just based on your data and then we make use of software to analysis." Yeah, that's why I believe all this technology need to apply to the right business rule, and that is kind of innovation. Let me further elaborate with an example. So, they are all good, but even better, they can work together to bring out the true value of the supply chain. For example, big data. The main purpose for big data is to consolidate the data. For the blockchain technology provides security mechanism. Also for AI is a kind of prediction to matching different resources. And they have to work together along the supply chain to bring out the true values. Let me give an example of ASEAN. Why ASEAN? Because we believe ASEAN or Southeast Asia has the highest e-commerce potential in the next 5 to 10 years. You know the percentage done retail, the percentage of retail done online right now in China is around something like 15%, 1.5. US pretty much the same, but Southeast Asia, except Singapore is much higher, 7-8%. The majority of the Southeast Asia country is well below 2%. That means there's a very huge potential. We build advanced supply chain, offer different options, link all the parties together. Also, different kind of payment solution. Right now, when we develop the supply chain solution, we cannot only just consider the supply chain. We have to consider other building blocks as well as a total solution. So lastly, it is my company. It's EasyPost. We are helping the merchant to succeed in the Southeast Asia through end-to-end logistics solution. And also we provide omnichannel development solution. We help the merchant to sell their products through different channels. So to sum up, we are right now step in the new retail era, online plus offline plus logistics. E-commerce is booming, in particular cross-border e-commerce. Supply chain is very important right now to develop your online and offline strategy. When we develop your supply chain solution, you have to consider other as well. For example, payment, your customer experience strategy, your category management, and also different kind of seller ERP system.